So, let's see, there's the old fuel lines. We joined the metal right here, and they run through the frame, and you have to pull them out. The old exhaust, that thing's gonna have to come out completely. Obviously, we got some wiring to figure out. The shop manuals are on their way. And I gotta figure out air conditioning and radiator. So, the biggest thing that's going to need to get done here is this frame cross member is going to have to get modified. Just to the left of that motor mount where the fuel lines are coming out now is square, sort of boxed on this car, but on the 94 it's got a curve there to allow clearance for the AC compressor. So take a look at that here and you can see what I'm talking about. Alright, you see right there to the bottom of the left motor mount, a little curved area. So we're going to cut that out and weld it into the 83, since that curve is already nice and formed, and the frames are essentially the same otherwise. There's really no difference. And really one of the other only big things that's going to have to be done is I have to use a transmission cross member from well, 94 to 96. Not this car, it's a rusty mess, but a good and clean one. So here's a top-down view showing the two. There's the 83s on the bottom, the 94 to 96 is on the top. And here's a underside view, how you'd see it under the car. The driver's side will bolt right up to factory holes on the 83, but the passenger side will not. So that will be a little tricky, getting that all lined up, drilling some holes in there. And that will allow me to put in dual exhaust, which I'll be pulling out of my Roadmaster, as it's stainless steel and still in okay shape. And also, I'm not going to be able to use the 83's drive shaft. It's longer than the 94. It's about 3 inches longer, and that has to do with the tail shaft on the 204R in the 83 being shorter, I guess. So, got to get a clean drive shaft, not the one out of my rusty Roadmaster. So I'm going to be keeping fuel injection on the LT1. I'm going to be using the entire system out of the 94 wagon, from the fuel tank to the sending unit and fuel pump, the nylon lines, every bit of it is going to bolt right in, I found. You can see it's a bit bigger than the 83's tank, which is the one on the right there. However, I found in test fitting it, it mounts up perfectly, and I was concerned about not having enough room for the top of the tank where the sending unit is, but everything fits, and you can see those are the 94's straps, which are going to be replaced with new ones. Obviously those are pretty scary rusty, but you can see it just fits right up there. Everything bolts up, even though the 94 straps are much wider and different looking than the 83's skinny metal straps. But as it turns out, the floor pans are virtually identical back here. This is the 94, and this is the 83. It's exactly the same. And the filler neck lines up properly with the fuel filler door. Everything just screws right into where that's mounted, so it's all pretty much bolt-in. So for the wiring, the 83's ECM is on the inside of the car, in the passenger side kick panel. You see it here. And the wires pretty much go straight through the firewall, unbroken, no connectors or anything, through a grommet, and go directly to whatever sensors they need to go to or whatever. So, but with the 94 LT1, the PCM is under the hood, and all the wiring goes from there to where it needs to go. So there's not a whole lot, despite the fact that there's a ton of wires here. There's not a whole lot that are actually going to need to be used. One of the wires will be for the check engine light, and then a few of the wires will be for the DLC connector, park neutral switch, brake signal switch for the PCM, and also a few wires for the cruise control, since the 83's cruise control is speedometer cable driven and vacuum actuated. So it's lacking some wires that the new electronic system will need. Also, the fuel pump wires will run through the inside of the car and up into this kick panel area, and then through some existing wires through the firewall. Well, that's it for now. So some of the things I'm just going to have to figure out as I go. Stick around. This project's going to be interesting.